Hey everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. Today we're going to do a video response to my good buddy the funny nerd, and it's about games I've started but yet have to finish. I thought when I watched this video that it was an interesting topic, and I'm not going to, of course, talk about games that are basically like impossible to finish for various reasons. Like I don't know. Now I cannot think of like I don't know like fighting games or games with almost no story or they're not supposed to be played like that. But the main idea is to games that I've started, maybe also like enjoyed it very much, but for one reason or another I've dropped them and yet have to going back to them and especially finish them. Of course, there is a lot of them, but I gathered here like 8 examples of games that, with one exception, I've enjoyed. More than one exception, let's say. I'll get to that when I talk about these games. But in general, I started them, and then I've dropped them, and I've still have to go back to them. So let's start with the Vita. And the first one, it's interesting because it's a compilation, and I finished 1/3 of it. But then while I was playing the second one, something happened and I still need to go back to it and keep playing it because it's a series that I really like. And it's the Jak and Daxter trilogy. Like this very much. I love the genre, I love the characters, like the setting very much. And I love the first one, the Precursor Legacy. Fantastic platformer, classic on the PS2. And I really enjoyed this on my Vita, and it was very frustrating, to be honest. Like I died a million times while playing the first Jak and Daxter, but I still kept going until I beat the first one and really enjoyed it. Then I started playing the second one, and at first, in general, I still like it very much, but I have to be honest, I have a big question mark above my head while I was playing it because it felt to me like I was playing Jak and Daxter, the Grand Theft Auto edition. All of a sudden, I have guns, I can steal cars and motorcycles. It's like, what the hell? And also some parts were really annoying, especially I remember like that sort of skateboarding thing really bothered me. I mean, it was a real pain in the ass managed to finish those missions. So I still need to play, I think, at least half of the game, if not a bit less, because I played for a while actually, because in general I enjoyed it. But I don't know, probably there was something else I really wanted to play at the time, I don't remember, but also this different setting, or at least a different gameplay, and certain elements didn't really click with me as much as the first one. It was just a fun platformer. I understand that they had to change something and everything, but I don't know. And I really want to play the third one, and I also have The Lost Frontier on PSP because I really like this series. And I love this. The parts that I've played, I love them, with some exception. As I said, skateboard, and no, not at all. But I really like this series. I really love the characters, especially Daxter. I love this little bastard. Really goofy. And when I made my ideal RPG party video, Daxter was there. A little spoiler if you haven't watched it, because I really love this character. But I still need to go back to Jak and Daxter to eventually finish that, play the third one, and there's a lot of gameplay here, but I don't know when I'll get back to it. Eventually it will happen, but we'll see. Next, it's the most recent game of the bunch, and one of the latest games that I've bought. Started it, I liked it, but the thing is there is a lot of like a lot of getting used to it that I need to do, and that kind of not really bothered me because I'm okay with that, with this sort of genre. But something happened, and I will talk in a moment, that completely distracted me, and then I dropped it. And the game is Grand Kingdom, a very interesting a brand new strategy RPG on the beta. And the thing is that I love strategy RPGs. It's a great subgenre, my favorite genre. And the interesting thing about this is that I really like certain features of it, and I think I just have scratched the surface of this. Especially because I love, for example, the combat system. It's a lot of fun, the battles, even though there are certain things I would have done better, like just using one party per mission. I would have used at least two, but that's a detail. I love the character design, the graphical style of the characters, this anime style. Didn't want to say it again, but it's an anime style. I really like it, how it's done. I don't like the boards, the way you move it in a sort of like, you just have a sort of chess piece and move around the board. That's not much of my taste, but again, it's a minor complaint that I have. The problem that completely distracted me from this is that while I was playing it, I was looking around like Facebook and websites for news, because sometimes I looked at video games news, and there were a slew of news about Trails of Cold Steel 2, my most anticipated game of the year, of course. And when I've read that the game's coming, it's very close. Of course, it's coming. I knew that, but that it's really just around the corner. I mean, it will be released in a couple of weeks, maybe even less, like early September in North America. Then I read that it will be released in November in Europe. I was like, oh my god. But the problem is that I was getting very excited about that because, as you know, I absolutely adored Trails of Cold Steel. That game is amazing, and of course, because I was getting hyped in a way for the sequel, what do? I restart the game. So, New Game Plus on Nightmare. I'm at the final boss right now, sort of. Let's say like that, sort of final boss. And what can I say? It's a big game, of course. It kept me occupied for a long time, so I have no time from Grand Kingdom. And then now I restarted in a way, not from the beginning, of course, but I was also playing a game on the PSP, and I restarted playing that. So for the moment, Grand Kingdom, I don't see it happening very soon. But it's a good game. That's the thing. I liked it, even though there's a lot I still need to learn, like all the online functions. I barely touched those. So if maybe I even didn't touch them, but it's a good strategy RPG. Just need to sometimes get back to it. I don't know when, but. And speaking of RPGs, that's kind of a game that I started it quite early after I bought my Vita. And interesting enough, I enjoyed what I played. I played for like solid 5 hours, more than Grand Kingdom, for example. But then I remember I was distracted by something else that was playing other games. I don't remember what. I think it was something on the PSP, however. And maybe it was around the time I was playing the Gaga trilogy. So of course I completely like, yeah, fuck this. The game is Conception 2. A interesting interesting RPG by Atlus. Yeah, it's very interesting. I know, for example, Emperor Fox is not a big fan of this, but I think it's a charming game in a way. I mean, it's a really, you're not going to find the meaning of life in Conception 2. It's just a game. It's full of innuendos and references. And yeah, but it's fun in its way. I like, again, this anime style. It's always touched a soft spot for me. I really like this anime RPGs. It's nothing I can do. And also like the child creator system. It's fun to having this little bastard in battle. It's with your main characters while exploring these dungeons. It's a fun RPG. It's nice and fun. I would like to come back to it eventually. I will. I don't know when, but it's funny. It's absolutely corny and cheesy, but I liked it, and eventually I would like to go back to it, but I haven't played in a while, I have to say. And finally, to conclude the Vita section, this is probably the most frustrating game that I've played so far on the Vita. Eventually, I don't know when, I will finish it because I really want to, but it will take me an eternity to finish this game, and that is Freedom Wars. I love this, but boy, it's frustrating. I mean, when I made my video response to Steven Like a Gamer about pushing through a video game, this was absolutely there. It was like the first idea of pushing through, because the battles that you fight in this game against those abductors, those huge robots that you have to fight, it's some of the hardest and most frustrating, but also most rewarding at the same time. When you fight one enemy for, I don't know, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then you win. Most of the time you lose, but when you win, there's nothing more rewarding than destroying an enemy abductor. But at the same time, there's nothing more frustrating than losing at this game after 45 minutes that you really tried. But, oh my god. It's a great action game, third-person shooter, but if you have this, get ready, because it's tough. And it's really, it can get really under your skin. I mean, sometimes when I got killed, the worst thing that can happen is that, first of all, they kidnap your robots. I always forgot your accessory. There you go. First, they capture your accessory, and then they kill you while you're desperately trying to save your robot. And then you have to do a special mission, which is usually destroy an abductor. And it's sometimes it's like, Jesus, just kill me, please. But it's a great game at the same time. So I really like it, but I've never been so frustrated in my life with a video game. Sometimes, I mean, just like you regret you're returning being a 5-year-old and yelling at your Vita like this. That happened with Freedom Wars, so that's why I haven't finished it yet. But I pumped a lot of hours into it. I mean, it's because it's good. It's a really fun action game, and I would like to see a sequel. And it looks gorgeous on the Vita. I mean, the music is good. I mean, the characters are very interesting. I mean, it has a lot of pluses, a lot of good elements, but the frustration, it's really high. I mean, let's move to the DS. And I just have two games here. One, it's the kind of game that I started, and I know I'm never going to finish it because I didn't like it, what I played. It's a big disappointment from there about this. And the game is Phantasy Star Zero. Now, I love the Phantasy Star series, but every time I say it, I really mean that I love the first 4 Phantasy Star games, because I don't really like this formula that they introduced after Phantasy Star 4. I mean, the Phantasy Star Online. I mean, I never played the early ones, like Phantasy Star Online. I was very close on buying a version on the original Xbox, but I don't know, because back then my internet connection with that thing was not very good or barely functioning. So I said, yeah, whatever, let's buy something else. But when I start to get on these portable ones, like Zero, I play Phantasy Star Portable on the PSP, and I'm kind of curious to try again Phantasy Star Portable 2. I mean, I'm giving this new Phantasy Stars really too many shots. I mean, it has kind of interesting idea. In a way, this is maybe even more interesting than Phantasy Star Portable. I mean, between the two, I don't know. Maybe this is a bit better. But I really don't like the combat system. The story, I don't know where this goes, because at least Phantasy Star Portable, it's sequel to Phantasy Star Universe, so there is a sort of storyline. With this one, I have no idea, but after a while, I was really like, no, I'm not playing this. I'm really disappointed. There's a reason why I love the first 4 so much, and I'm really not liking this genre of Phantasy Star games. And I really hope, but of course it's never going to happen, that Sega will return and doing some Phantasy Star games as they're supposed to be. But as I say, I know it's never going to happen. I mean, they're turn-based. It's really something, a dying art, you might say. And that's funny because when people play Rise of Cold Steel, which is a classic turn-based game, maybe a bit adjusted, but that's what a good company should do. Everybody got crazy for it because it is still the best combat system in an RPG and will ever be the best that you can get. It's pointless to keep reinventing the wheel, but this is another. We're going into the tangents there. But I'm very firm on that. To me, nothing is better than turn-based for an RPG. The next one on the DS, it's a game that I've started. I really, really, really like its setting and atmosphere, but it kicked my ass so much and so painfully that I haven't played in years. I'm scared to restart this game because it's tough. And I would love to get into this one, and especially I would love to get into the series. And then it's Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume. A really good strategy RPG on the DS, but as I said, this game stomped me relentlessly. I mean, I was there casually playing my strategy RPG, and it started slaughtering me without mercy. I was like, good God, this game is difficult. I think I tried to play this from the beginning 5 times and really trying really hard, but it's really, really tough. And I'll definitely come back to this. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I really want to get into the Valkyrie Profile series. I really want to get sometimes the Lenneth for the PSP. And I've heard, like, for example, the sequel on the PS2, it's a phenomenal game. So I really want to get into this, but Covenant of the Plume really scared the shit out of me for its difficulty. But maybe it was just me. Maybe I played it wrong. I don't know. Because I love the setting of this. I love the really dark and depressing tones of this. I think it's a great series, but we'll see. I will go back to it eventually. I say this, I don't know when it's going to happen. Probably will be in the next 25 years, but Valkyrie Profile, it's definitely a series I want to get into it, but it's so hard. And we're going to end with 2 games on the PSP. The first one, again, soon I will give this another shot, because the first time I played it and I was like, no, I'm not liking it. I don't like this. And of course I'm talking about that damn Final Fantasy II. I bought this PSP version just in order to replay that, because I already have the Dawn of Souls, I think it's called, on the Game Boy Advance, which has Final Fantasy 1 and 2, and I like Final Fantasy 2, even though it's not my favorite, like, 8-bit RPG by a really long shot. There are much better ones around. But it really bothered me that I really didn't like Final Fantasy 2. I was like, what the hell? What is wrong with me? Because it has so many interesting things, as we know. I mean, it's the first sequel, naturally. Even though it was called Final Fantasy. There you go, Final Fantasy II. It's the first Final Fantasy with a story. And apparently it's a good story, considering the time, since this was for the Famicom. Apparently it has a good villain, but this game has that really annoying combat system, and especially like experience system, that you have to attack your enemy to increase your proficiency with the sword. You have to get hit in order to increase your HPs, and so on and so on. And that's very annoying. Add the fact that this is also an open world game, and that's a recipe for disaster. And when I played the first time, after 2 hours, I was done. And I said, I'll never touch this turd again. But thinking about it, and saw that this PSP version was very cheap, say, let's try it again. Maybe this version is less brutal, and I will play it with a guide just to avoid getting lost, to face enemies that will deal 999 damage to your level 2 characters. I remember playing that, I was like, what the fuck? But I will try Final Fantasy 2 again in the future. I'm saying it for all the games, so I don't know when it's going to happen, but I really want to finish these games, except Phantasy Star Zero. That's the only one that has zero interest in coming back. And the final game here, it's the perfect example of me being lazy. Not only I've started this game, I play 99% of it. You might guess what it is if you follow some of my old videos. And the interesting thing also that I enjoy this game, even though I heard so many bad things about it. That it's Mimana, the Year Chronicle, not Chronicles, but Mimana. I can talk for hours about this game. It's so interesting, and the thing that bothers me, and I don't know why I haven't got back to it. I need to beat the final boss, and then I beat Mimana, and I haven't touched this game since basically the day second chapter. The day I decided to download the Trails in the Sky second chapter. That was in between December and January, basically. Of course, I've started to play that. Who has time for Mimana? Then I play Trails of Cold Steel, and then I start playing other games. Mimana, it's there. I just need to finish this, because as I said, I play 99% of it. I'm just very lazy with this. And that's the funny thing, because I like this, actually. It's nothing special, it's nothing mind-blowing, but it has good ideas. The best way, I think I already said this in my Games of Last Year video, but the best way I can describe this game, the impression that it gave me, maybe I'm completely wrong, but when I played it, it gave me the idea of being a sort of mix between an old-school Tales of game with some elements from Lunar, broadly speaking. And it kind of it made sense to me in a way. I mean, and like I like some of these characters, especially the two main characters, Christ and Sophie. They're really likable, actually. Christ is, especially by the end, I have to say, because at the beginning he's not likable at all. But there's a reason for that. Sophie, she's a very likable character. The secondary characters are nice. I like this game. It's not my favorite by any means of the imagination, but it's a fun RPG on the PSP. I will actually. It depends on how it finishes, I have to say. I don't know how it ends, but depending on the ending, I might even say I wouldn't mind a sequel to this, even though it's never going to happen, of course. But yeah, this is the greatest example of being very, very lazy. Like, I just need to play, I don't know, for 1 hour, just because I have to redo also the second to last boss, since it's just one of those cases that you face a boss immediately after you face the next one, and I died while I was almost really close to beating it. It just, of course, unleashed like an uber attack that slaughtered my party. So these are just some examples, but some good ones of games that I've started, and some of them played a lot, but never finished it for various reasons. I was distracted, I didn't dig it very much, I was lazy. So there you have it. Some games that I need to finish, and I would love to finish them, actually, especially some of them. But definitely check Leo's video. Great channel, like always. It certainly doesn't need a shout out from me, but it's funny also to see his one. I have to say, really surprised me. Not because I'm a fan of the series, because it's interesting how it's explained it, but definitely check it out, this video. Thanks for watching, like always, guys. I'll see you next time, and take care.